What happens to new cars that never get sold? It's one of the most common questions I get asked, and people are wondering what's going to happen with 2 and 3 year old vehicles that are still new sitting on the lot. Because I have been to hundreds of dealerships, and almost every single one of them still has 2023s in 2025. So, this is what happens to new cars that never get sold. Well, first, the dealership's responsible. They're the one that accept the allocation from the manufacturer. They purchase the vehicle from the manufacturer on their lot. And almost every single dealership uses something called floor planning, so they're financing the vehicles on their lot. And most floor plans will have very low, if no interest within the first 90 days. So the dealership's goal is to sell it as quick as possible within that first 90 days, and if anything, get it out of there before 180 days. But considering we're coming across vehicles that have been on the lot 700, almost 800 days, so one of the first things that a dealership will do is use something called spiffs to incentivize their salespeople to sell it. It's like an extra bonus to the salesperson, and they call it a spiff. So a manager will say, if you sell this 2023 that's been on the lot 500 days, we'll give you an extra $1,000. And so anytime a customer comes in, they keep showing that car because they need to sell it. But you would think they would just discount it to sell it, because honestly, cars sell at the right price, but most of the dealerships that get stuck with this inventory are the ones that were doing market adjustments, or they have some sort of add-ons, or they're just not discounting the vehicle enough. The dealership can also use that 2023 or 2022 that's been on the lot 700 days as a demo vehicle. If you didn't know, most management staff at dealerships are going to get to drive a vehicle home and for their personal use. And back in the day, even the salespeople got cars, but because of the rising cost of insurance, that stopped. But management still gets their demo vehicle, so they can use one of those cars, or they can even put it in the loaner car service for the service department. Because we know one thing, these cars are breaking down more than ever, so they need a lot more service loaners in their service department. And the manufacturer will actually pay the dealership to put a car in the service department, and they'll get money out of it, and it will make them feel better when they go to sell it with a little bit of miles, with hopefully a big discount. But still, the discounts are probably never going to be enough. And then even if you get a discount on a vehicle that's been sitting 2 to 3 years, who knows if it doesn't have issues, because cars are made to be driven, and these things are just sitting outside for 3 years sometimes. And dealerships have other options too. This is one of the last things that they never want to do, but they can send the vehicle to an auction, to a dealer-only auction, and actually sell the vehicle that way. And there's a lot of reasons why the dealership doesn't want to do this. Obviously, they're going to get a lot less money for the vehicle because another dealership's going to buy that vehicle, and they're going to know how long they've been sitting on it, and they're going to want it well below market. That way they can make their money. And one of the biggest things is the dealership also doesn't get to take advantage of the finance box. Dealerships, they can lose money on the front end gross profit on a car deal, and their goal would be to make it up in the finance box. When you finance that vehicle, even though they lost in the front end, they can make it up with all the warranties. They can obtain your financing and bump your rate. There's all sorts of ways that they can make money off of you. So it's one of those last options that the dealership will do. They'll send it to that auction and just take a big loss. But I don't understand, because half these vehicles, if they would just discount it right to begin with, they would have sold it in 2023. It's because when the vehicle first hit the lot in 2023, that dealership was probably doing a market adjustment. So of course they didn't sell it back then, because people were like, no, I'm done paying these market adjustments. And now finally, 2 years later, they're finally discounting it a little bit. But before 2020, this did not happen. You did not have 3-year-old vehicles at most dealerships sitting around. It was extremely rare back then before 2020. Now it's at every single dealership. The prices are just way too high. The quality's lower than ever. And so some dealers have multiple year-old, quote-unquote, new vehicles sitting on the lot for multiple years that have not been sold. So those are a few options that dealerships have, from sending it to an auction, to using it as a service or a demo vehicle, offering a spiff to the salespeople to incentivize them to sell it, or just discount the vehicle properly to begin with. It's that simple. But overall, the responsibility's on the dealership. So if they don't sell it, they just have to keep holding it out, and they pay the floor plan until eventually the vehicle's paid off. Because paying a lot of interest on that car just makes it worse for the dealer. The longer they keep that car, the worse it is, because the bigger discount they're going to have to give, and then on top of that, the more it costs them to keep it on their lot. So it's just a lose-lose situation situation when you have all these cars, but I've shown you 22s, 2023s, and they're still on the lot in 2025. I don't know if they're ever going to sell it. In a year, we might see 1,000-day, 1,100-day old vehicles that have been on the lot. Like, are they ever going to actually sell these things? So let me know what you think. Have you seen this new old stock in your area? Because it's becoming so common. Let me know what you think. Have a great day and stay blessed.